With the sacred flame from the cistern received, we head to Lanayru. Here we get the claw shot, and more importantly, make it to the Sand Sea. With our new homie Skipper, we play Wind Waker, but where the wind runs out of breath, and many breaths and stops later, we make it to the Sandship. Despite its name, this ship is not made out of sand, but it does have some things you couldn't miss. As soon as we take note of the abandoned nature of the ship, we delve into the hull of the ship to make it into the room Skipper detailed to us. However, we are stopped in our tracks by a contradiction. The sand pit we are able to sink into makes no sense going off the general structure of the ship we've observed so far. Obviously, there are at least 2 floors below this one, and with the thickness of the floors, the sand pit is not physically possible. Is what I would say if we didn't know from developer interviews that this pit was actually supposed to be a portal to Twilight Princess's Gerudo Desert. This is also seen within the code, as this sand still does attempt to teleport the player, however due to the Gerudo Desert memory being missing, we are voided out instead. Arakas have become a very common enemy so far in Skyward Sword, but this hallway takes it to another level. Clearly we can see Arakas on every single face of this hallway, and majority of them are honestly just standing still. So the question is, what are these Arakas doing in this hallway? What seems to be the case is, unfortunately, you have interrupted the Araka annual bingo tournament when all the Arakas here are about to hit bingo. So as you come in and ruin their enjoyable, fun time, they're also getting angry because they've been sitting here for hours trying to get bingo, and they finally did, just for you to ruin it. As we reach the bow of the ship, we find the pirate named Skirvo, who is responsible for stealing the sacred flame, still here watching over his stolen ship thousands of years later. While the commitment is admirable, this pirate clearly has always won his battles with brawn over brains. With his arena of choice being this narrow, you would think he would have used those thousands of years honing a technique to utilize this unique arena. However, all he does is rush down Link with no other strategy. So what exactly did he do for these 1,000 years? Judging by the way he was staring off the bow, you would assume he was looking for something, but in reality, he was actually running some numbers. Because ever since he lost his arm and replaced it with a hook, he's been attempting to recreate his arm, in hopes that he'd be able to use his second sword again. But due to its complexity, he would have needed at least 20 more years to finish his calculations. After we finally make it to the past, we need to turn on the engines for the ship. Not much is explained when it comes to why the ship needs these extra engines. Before we even turn a single engine on, the entire ship is powered, with electric fences along with the invisibility function operational, and obviously due to the sails, they are not needed for movement either. So with all these engines running, what possibly do they need to power? While the ship is currently occupied by pirates, this ship was originally owned by Skipper, and judging by his house and the land around it, he must have been a very wealthy man to acquire it. With logical deduction, we can assume all this power would be sent to a hidden room in the ship with tons of Bitcoin miners, allowing Skipper to sail the seas enjoying his life, not worrying about revenue due to his passive income. If we take a right instead of taking a left at this one swinging post, we find a room that the pirates use to hide all their treasure. While this room must obviously be a decoy Skipper made so people wouldn't find his Bitcoin mining room, this room has a lot of interesting items stored in it. If we look at 2 items specifically in this room besides all the rupees, we see a monster horn and an evil crystal. These 2 items alone are not that interesting, but if we look at them combined, that's when we get the true interesting fact here. Combining these 2 items looks suspiciously like a microphone, and if you consider the fact that they're hiding a microphone in here, they must really covet their open mic nights here on the pirate ship. These open mic nights would be able to allow them to do karaoke or stand up to increase the morale of the crew. The abyssal leviathan Tenus is a very sad creature, because no matter how hard it tries to be intimidating and scary, it can't possibly do so. Why this is the case is really odd, especially since they aced all their scare classes back in college. What seems to be the case is Tenus is suffering from an extremely bad physique problem. If you look closely at Tenus, the head shape, while that is hereditary, it's not the end of the world, right? Like, yes, having an extremely round head does give you a more cute vibe or a cute aura, but Tenus has one other major issue: the body shape. Tenus clearly hasn't put much effort into its physical body physique, because the body here, Tenus is honestly extremely out of shape. And if we think about it, someone who's more in shape would definitely be more intimidating. So hopefully in the future, Tenus will get into the gym, start working out a little bit, and maybe with their physique being a little more rigid and rock-like, that could give them some of the scary features they desire. Before we end this video, I regret to inform y'all a mistake has been made at the beginning of this video. I said claw shot at the beginning, and I also used a picture of the Twilight Princess claw shot, when this was supposed to be the claw shots. Sorry for this inconvenience. And that is the end of this video. If you enjoyed, I'm glad. And you know what to do.